Live with Pops. Hope you guys are doing well. Lots of interesting stuff we could talk about. Listen, I did a video last week about the Oscars, and I still don't care. I don't know about you. Maybe you still care. Maybe you care. I don't know. I'm not into it. I don't really care about who backslapped who, and you know, propping up the fact that you know Fish Mooney is still the villain. I don't care what anybody says, and alopecia being portrayed as a disease is actually pretty disgusting. I find that pretty gross. I found that pretty gross. So looking forward to a good stream tonight. Hoping to have a great guest with us. His name is Stone Loki. Stone Loki is a great Twitter and YouTube personality. Just awesome stuff, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully bringing him in here and talking about some stuff. So be looking forward to that. Comments. I don't know, all the little bells and whistles are all down there. Feel free to do all that. And yeah, let's just do this and have a good night. So, besides the Oscar nonsense, notice no one's talking about the film or who won Best Supporting Actress or anything like that. No one talks about Dune, who won like what 7 jillion technical awards, special effects type awards, and the Dune people are ticked off it didn't win Best Picture. Good luck with that and the genre film lecture that I did last time. That's not going to how it works, folks. That's not how it's going to work. So here we are, a week of that nonsense. Really don't care. One of the things I think we talked about last time with T-shirt was the destruction of franchises. So that's kind of where we're going to pick up again this week, hopefully with Loki. We talk about the Halo. I rewatched this episode again, and it is just the same formula, cringy, poor writing, sort of like watered down version of anything remotely entertaining. Like it is, yeah, it's pretty bad. So I had a friend whose teen son watched it and basically talked about it being like Bad Batch, like even more so than Mandalorian, which I didn't see Bad Batch, but it does show just this is all so formulaic, cliche. I don't really want to get into like social justice elements of it because I don't know if that's really a thing. So anyway, feel free to throw some comments in there, things that you're thinking about, things that you would like to talk about, those kinds of things. I want to fill in some time. I want to Loki if he swings by or not, and hopefully he can. It's been interesting that people like the normie crowd still there's sort of like a denial of being good movies. Like, so I had a friend that came and said, "Hey, listen, I finally saw the Matrix movie." And my response was, I'm sorry." And they were talking about how bad it was. It was this, it was that. And I just realized most people are just not plugged in to anything. Maybe they don't read reviews. People are scared that reviewers will spoil everything. And I have sort of like two approaches to reviews. Like if I do a video like this, you guys know I'm all in on spoilers. I'm not censoring, filtering, all that nonsense anymore. I'm just not doing that. But I'll be more than happy if, especially when I was writing my text reviews, that they're pretty spoiler free unless I indicate otherwise. And I don't think there's a reason to ruin movies for people, but at the same time, people are just not watching reviews. They're just not connecting to this kind of stuff. And man, having somebody this late in the game talking about Matrix was just really kind of an eye opener for me. And the irony is with Oscars, this situation is I basically said, Will Smith should win the Oscar for King Richard based on the films that I saw. I thought King Richard was a fine movie. And after these shenanigans and this sort of like just outrageous and inappropriate behavior, this is Hollywood. Like this is the one thing I always had an issue with the Harvey Weinstein thing was their issues with immorality and sex and the casting couch and abusive women, marginalizing women, treating them so badly. I said they just projected that all on us. Like that's how we operate. And as I said then, I'd say now, like, I don't know what world you're living in, man. You've been in corporate America for, years working in different jobs, working and being around people, we have, moms, wives, daughters, sisters, friends. No, we don't behave like this. We don't treat people this way. And I'm sorry that you want to put a caricature and a cartoon on it. That's not how we behave. And for Will Smith to sort of laugh at a joke and then look at his wife who's not happy about the joke and then go up there and basically it turns to violence. And I said this and someone really took offense to my comment. I said, it's really such a metaphor for this sort of leftist intolerance of humor and taking a joke. You're not, see, the people on the right are expected to see their religion mocked, to see their politics mocked, to see every name, ist and ob, phobe thrown at them and their political leaders. And it's like people don't understand that you're lumping people in with those politicians. Like every time you were attacking Trump, Cruz, these different high-profile Republicans, the attacks many times would be these generic blanket things and would involve all of these insults. And you're basically just saying that about anyone and all that supported them. So we went through this, like I said, with Harvey Weinstein. And now you're seeing this. I can't take a joke, but I can be violent. And I'm doing to them what they've been doing to me is, lumping them in together. They're like this. And the problem is, I could back this up with examples where, you're not allowed to be critical of anything. You're not allowed to point out any hypocrisies. You're not allowed to point out anything. But here they are. There's a huge movement. I didn't really cover it here, but Todd McFarlane, the great comic book creator and also creator of toys, spoke about, they don't want to have little guns anymore. You see this in movies where guns are gone. I kind of mocked Hawkeye because there's a scene where he picks up a gun, but he's not holding it as anyone who would ever pick up a gun would hold it. It's just very strange. Like he's holding it in this very weird way. And they just think gun violence is so much more rampant than it is, and that they should it's like, but you're not dealing with like real issues. Like none of this stuff is real. Like their fantasy land and their delusion runs so deep that the Smith sat there in that front table like they were royalty, and then he looks over at her and she wears the pants, and I'm not even going down that rabbit hole. And it was this open-handed slap. It was just, it's just so weak tea. Not my thing. Not my thing. So I was looking ahead, and there are just not a lot of movies to get real excited about. I was really hoping that, because somebody was talking about that, and they were talking about movies like Top Gun Maverick or whatever. And I'm like, no. Things like that. Doctor Strange. It's like, do you really think Doctor Strange is going to be okay, considering the Spider-Man prompted reshoots and, some of that kind of stuff, and the Scarlet Witch gender bait and switch stuff that's pretty ubiquitous across all of the Disney and Marvel product. Like, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I'll see if I can pull it up real quick while I was explaining. It's like, even when they are on the right track, or you think they're on the right track, the bait and switch stuff is sort of like right there. And it's very sort of like disheartening and frustrating, because you just don't feel like that anything is changing. You just feel like you're still sort of trapped in this this sort of like world where this is what's coming, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is a final trailer? No, it's a clip. It's not a trailer. That's what I wanted to share with you. Let's look at the clip and see exactly what I'm trying to say. It's just the bait and switch thing is really what I'm trying to get at. Contact lens. Is that what it's called? It has a name like that? I don't know. I'm going to think that's it. It's got to be it. What else has there been? They put out more than one clip for a show that's only like 6 episodes long. These people are, I don't know. I'm not even going to go down that road. Let's see if we have anything here. So I'm gonna pretend that I'm a Moon Knight fan. Not really. Moon Knight basically was nothing to me more than Marvel's sort of knockoff version of Batman, and then they added in all this mystical stuff and the Egyptian lore and all of that kind of came along a little bit later. And I've read some. It's okay. I think that my favorite was probably the Stephen Platt era, which came along a little bit later. And really, I'm not sure how much of it really is the best example of these kinds of things. I think that a lot of the Moon Knight lore is just being dark and mysterious and, all of that rather than anything particularly interesting. I would say that I think everyone is pretty excited about, the prospect of seeing. I did not share the right clip. That's not the right spot. Let's share a different screen. That's me trying to find the right clip. Oscar Isaac, man. I'm okay with Oscar Isaac. I don't have a problem with that. The problem comes into play is it just doesn't seem like to be. It's like it's particularly that entertaining. Like I just don't. This portrayal of someone that's really deranged and battling mental illness and all of that's fine. I don't think anybody has a problem with that. Moon Knight has multiple personalities, so that kind of disorder, which was teased in the earlier footage, was all pretty good. But you get these shots, and if that's what they're going for, and they can pull off in the first couple episodes, I think that's kind of the direction that they're going. My fear is we're gonna have 3 or 4 episodes where nothing really happens, and he doesn't really become Moon Knight, and you just see other stuff instead. The stuff that's going on here, different creatures, different things like that. Let's see. This is the elevator scene, which is supposed to be kind of comical. The Marvel thing is just not remotely interesting to me. I'm kind of over all of that. He dropped his contact lens. This is not the right clip. This has got to be. Yeah, this is a different clip. I don't know. I just feel some in the suit. That's the clip that everybody's talking about. So I tried to read the new ones. And first off, the way that he's designed and drawn, it seems very like slim. I don't want to say effeminate, but it is not the traditional Mark Spector, like I said, Batman knockoff. So this is the other clip that everyone's talking about. Let me share this one. This is the one that everybody's a little bit like, what are they doing? And I kind of feel the same way. This to me is the big reveal. This is the real trick, right? I watched this clip called Some of the Sun. Oh, it sounds so intense. And it's like, oh, whatever. Oh, of course I'm buffering. Why would I not be buffering? Because I want it to open properly. So you basically get, woman. She understands more about what's happening than him. She doesn't understand. That was our quick shot of Ethan Hawke, but by the way, we hire a good actor and probably will be significantly let down. So, we'll see how that goes. It's like summon the suit. He doesn't know what what they're talking about. This is my fear with those first couple episodes is we're going to have a whole lot of, this is what's going on. Why do you not know who you are? Meek / weak superhero story that never really goes anywhere. And we'll have to kind of keep waiting and keep waiting. And here she's doing all the fighting, dragging him around. She's at least that scene, I will say, at least she pushed somebody instead of like some sort of weird, because here it comes. She's doing all of the superhero stuff. Ethan Hawke's using his purple magic. So here's big bad guy, bigger than Oscar Isaac, as you could see in the scene, right? And then it's like, where did she go? Oh, here she comes. She's got to save the day. Look at her just pummeling this guy who's way bigger than Oscar Isaac, throws her over. Purple magic. We got to have the shot right there with purple magic. And then she gets it. And then, so that's what we get. We get this tease. But see, he's all meek. He's all weak. And then we get That was awesome. Right? It's like her saving the day, him just being pulled around. It was cheesy CGI, of course. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like I feel like we're looking at like is this like Loki all over again, where you have sort of like the interesting character that you've come to see, someone that could be mysterious, entertaining. It could be an interesting story about the schizophrenia, mental illness, however they want to work it in. You know, the different versions of Moon Knight are in conflict with one another, and you see some of the shots where he looks so good, and then you see, woman knows more, woman leads him around, and you're like, oh my gosh, this sexist trope. These people, if it's just the first episode or two and it's trying to get him going, and then once he is going, then it kind of makes some sense. I think that's okay, but I don't know about anything else. So, let's say hey to Daryl. Daryl, how you doing, my friend? I don't know if you're big into Halo. That's what we were kind of going to talk about tonight. So if you're still out there, you want to pop in, let me know. I'll shoot you the link, man. You can come on up in here. I love your stuff. Daryl's got a great YouTube community that he's working in, doing different things in. Actually, I think I'm leaving here and going to be probably listening to VacTube later on tonight. So feel free to check that out because I like Daryl. I do not have a message option for you, so let me try a different way. Here, let's do this. Let's just open this up. I can handle it. I'm not afraid of these people. You guys don't scare me. Let's do old school radio show. Old school radio show. You want to come in? We can talk. What do you want to talk about? Put this in here. Join the conversation. And there, folks. Pick this up as we go. Wayward Culture's here. Hey, man. I love his content too. Feel free to check out Wayward stuff. He's got another YouTube channel, and I was listening to his video earlier today. And yeah, he was giving them a little bit more credit than I did for the Oscar nonsense. I'm not sure I would consider their highlights there were, it's just so bland. I don't spend a minute. I see a few clips here and there to stay current, whatever. So, and Daryl's cooking. What are you cooking, Daryl? Daryl seems like the person that would make food that I would really, really enjoy. I could see hanging out with a barbecue with Daryl. Now, Daryl, you would probably be on a short leash because it is kind of a PG-13 world in my world. So, other than that, we have a great time, man. We have this big farm out in the middle of nowhere, man. I bet we'd have a good time hanging out. And definitely some good food. Always about good food. I have good barbecue. I don't know where Daryl is, but when you live in the woods, it's about what you can find is some good barbecue and that kind of thing. So. We started off by like just a little bit of random talk here and there, and I was talking about Moon Knight and not knowing why we should think there won't be a bait and switch. Why should I give them any, I want to say, benefit of the doubt that they're not pulling shenanigans? I could pull up the same trailer and kind of go through the exact same scenario with Obi-Wan. I feel like the exact same thing where now it features woman POC. Obi-Wan's not in it much. Conflicting scenes that kind of hint that he'll leave the planet, hence his responsibility to take care of Luke. All this talk by the creators about bringing Vader back, having them duel again, and all those kinds of things. And I'm not particularly interested in having them continue to uproot my very, very beloved OT, the original trilogy, and the mythology of it all. But they don't care. And I don't believe there's a reason to give them benefit of the doubt that they will care. And the bait and switch is on. And I think Moon Knight, Obi-Wan, they're coming first as far as bait and switch go, in my opinion. I have more hope for Moon Knight than Obi-Wan. I really, really see them moving away from the original trilogy. I don't know much about these characters that they're really propping up here. But I could see anything that Disney, Marvel, Disney, Star Wars owns. That's the direction that they're going to want to promote. That's how the money flows. Follow the money, folks. Isn't that the famous cliche? Follow the money. Kind of made our jokes about Miss Marvel, and I know Gary has done a great job of Phenomenon because it's Sana Amanat, and she's making bank on the Miss Marvel. Hence the reason that these failed series keeps getting canceled and rebooted over and over again. They make minor tweaks, minor changes. Now we're going to get a TV show, and she's making money on this show. And I guarantee if she still has a job there, because obviously there's a lot of rumors that she's not, but if there's a job there, she's going to do what she can do to make sure there's a season 2, get more money, get more bank. And then again, they own all of that, right? So this is why these characters are so dramatically changed. And I don't know how with Star Wars, because there's not a lot of the licensing and permissions would be different for a lot of the stuff in the Star Wars universe, but you've seen it with the way they handled Boba Fett, right? The best aspects of the Boba Fett show usually were centered around Mandalorian and all of that. So, yeah. So let's see here. Let's pin this to the top. Nope, that did not work. I gotta probably go into the studio, don't I? So anyway, what else do you want to talk about, folks? You got anything you want to talk about? I do think this bait switch thing is coming. I think that you're seeing this horrible, shameful deterioration of franchises. I don't think there's really a whole lot of reason to have until we see some of this stuff change, the directions change. Very, very sad and disheartening. It breaks my heart to even have to have such a pessimistic attitude with everyone about it, because these are the things I grew up on and I love so much. I mean, I mentioned Moon Knight, not really a big collector of Moon Knight, but the Stephen Platt Moon Knight stuff was beautiful. Man, I love that stuff. Short-lived. I wasn't in it for any, massive period of time, but enough to be like, that's some really good stuff. And then, of course, Obi-Wan, Star Wars. I mean, wearing Star Wars shirts right now. Man, Obi-Wan was so important, whatever. So, yeah. All right. Let's see what they say here. Ironcaster, bro. I couldn't send you a link to jump in, but feel free. Let me see if I can pin my comment or whatever you want to come in and talk some stuff, man. It's coming to an end because they've broken dang near all of the big ones. Yeah, but you don't think they're going to keep going? I actually kind of jotted down a list of, it's like what franchise is next. We were going to talk about Halo and the destruction of Halo, and I ran down a list. So there's a gender swap already planned for Zorro. Do you want to see a Zorro with a female? I mean, the problem with the female characters is that they're writing them as though they're superheroes, right? They're writing, Black Widow is falling off debris and never gets injured. A female Zorro is just going to be absurd. It's just going to be absurd. Then you have a female Plastic Man, which will be Plastic Woman, I guess. That's been talked about and greenlit as well. So you have obviously these big franchises, which I think you're right, Ironcaster. A lot of those are in the middle of being tinkered with and changed and modified and messed up. But then you also, obviously everyone's just, holding their breath over how Amazon handles Lord of the Rings, which nothing looks that great. Of course, Game of Thrones will be, a prequel, which I don't know. It's almost like, look at the shiny dragons. Look at the shiny dragons. Let me see here. Let's see. Zorro was gender swapped decades ago. It's already trekked ground. Oh, okay. I didn't know it was gender swap. I know Lady Rawhide and Zorro. So that's about what I know. So I'm not particularly, I guess, a good steward of Zorro myth either. I actually don't remember. I don't want to say being into it much, but not very much. Like it's one of those things. It's fun action adventure. Three Musketeers is another one. Like it's all right. It's fun. I can see them doing a female Three Musketeer. Those are the kind of things I think there's no end. Like they will try to continue to tinker around the end. They will find other stuff. Yeah. So, all right. Ryan comes in. Hey, Ryan, how you doing, my friend? In my view, for every franchise the woke destroy, we the people build anew. For all of us have a story to tell. Amen, brother. Very, very true. Great comment. Thank you. Ryan, how do you see the transition with TVs and movies, though? Like, I know Young Ripa is bringing comic books. Indiegogo and Kickstarter have a ton of comic book creators, other art forms forming that way. You see some stuff with Daily Wire, but that's still very niche. Daily Wire needs to figure out, like, once they've had it on their platform exclusively for a while, they need to figure out how to get, like, digital stuff out there so people can just buy it outright, in my opinion. Like, there's more credibility once you can keep expanding that umbrella. I was trying to look, so I had their service for a while and just wasn't really getting the bang for my buck. And just because they put 1 or 2 movies on there is not enough for me to want to jump in right now. But I think if we see more movie, television, I want to see. I don't know. It's a tough call because I do agree with you. Licensing is an issue. I would love to see some big money come into play and look at maybe a comic book purchase that would just probably tick off half the industry, right? So you buy, like, I don't know, let's just say IDW goes out there. IDW goes up for sale and you have big money people that come in. Man, could you imagine someone like EVS, Ethan Van Sciver, buying IDW? My gosh, the heads would pop off these creators, especially if he maintained the licenses to could do some of the stuff. But no, I think Ryan's right. It's like, there's a ton of stuff that they're tearing down, but that doesn't mean that's the end of the story. And I think one of the things I think that Ryan, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but for me, it's really expanding wider and deeper into the rich history of things that had already been created. So for me, I've gone back and rewatched, I mean, even fluffy stuff that's not particularly, like, this isn't like top-notch stuff, but the Scream movie was just like, yeah. So I rewatched the old ones, and I was, that was entertaining. It wasn't, look, these aren't the greatest horror movies or anything like that. These are these knockoff, almost satiricals. They're, trying to be scary, but they're almost more comical than scary half the time. I don't hate the new Halloweens as much as most people do, but I rewatched a lot of the old ones there. Done a lot of the, just greater appreciation for the original Matrix film, for the original Star Wars films, the 3 Lord of the Rings films, which are just the absolute classics and those kind of things. So definitely a deeper, wider, getting back into comic books, of course, for me has been a big key to where I've gone back into like old stuff, rereading stuff from the 90s, 80s, well, 70s, 80s, and 90s, particularly for me. Stuff blood past that were fine, but that's kind of where I've definitely spun my wheels and really dug in a lot deeper there with that kind of stuff. And you see some of the stuff behind me. I actually decided to go ahead and have my comic books graded for the first time. I've never had mine graded, but after reading them for like, the third time, the fourth time, just in the last couple of years, like, okay, I can slab this and see what happens. So let's see what he says here. So let's see, Ryan follows up. New franchises begin with the original stories, new worlds inspired by the old stories that are being corrupted right now through content creation on social media. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, again, it's got to translate to things that move the culture for the normies, right? So for the folks that are on here, Ironcaster, Daryl, they're making content. As we join together, we make more content, we have conversations, we do different things. I think you'll see different people who've bubbled to the top with comedy. You've seen the rise of Ryan Long, and now you see, Christy Mayer, you see this stuff. I mean, there's tons of stuff there. So some of that stuff is working. I think that there's a place, for more Cobra Kais. How do we get more Cobra Kais made? How do we get, more franchises sort of brought to light, another novel or another series that can be licensed and adapted for TV and, film. And then, can we get, I love how, people on the right are very distracted by, we need another social media platform. We need a right-wing Twitter and all that. But all you're going to do is just increasing the echo chamber reach. If you've been on Getter is not a lot of diversity of conversation. You're not seeing a lot of real interaction. And it's just so heavily dominated with politics. Like, it's, I want a relief and a vacation from some of that. I'm not going to go to Getter. I'm just going to dive deeper into my YouTube universe, which can have, because on YouTube you can have all these branches going in different directions. Like, if you're into, this type of content and that type of content, you can kind of have it and compartmentalize. A lot of these other ones, you don't see that. I would rather say, well, what if, you start seeing a different type of TV streaming, and this is what Jeremy Boring and the Daily Wire made all these headlines over their Harry Razor thing, making their own razors. But then he did his interview over on the Tim Pool show, Timcast IRL, and he was talking about they already had the streaming aspects, all the stuff to put in there. because of their shows, and all they had to do was how to get a movie in there, how to get it, whatever. So now let's see. There's got to be a tons of things that they could license and bring in the umbrella. And then again, does it all need to be under one, sort of pay thing, or can they figure out ways to branch that out? I think that is definitely a huge step forward. Are there examples that I'm missing, guys? Are there examples like Daily Wire where they have some of this sort of streaming film, TV stuff that kind of comes into play that I'm not thinking of top of my head? Because I've been on a lot of the streaming services, and some of them just are terrible. Like there's massive quality drop-offs from some of these services, because when you're competing against Amazon Prime buying up stuff, that merger's nearly done, Disney buying Fox, Disney has not even remotely tapped into that, guys. You think that our lives are miserable now with adaptations? I think the Predator adaptation I know it's been greenlit. I don't know how far along it is. Let me see if I can see an update on that. So the last I heard was it was a Predator reboot, female lead with like a Native American background. Like she's like a Native American hunter, an American predator. Let me see here. All I get are like all of the female predators, which I know that's a thing. That's not what I mean. I need reboot in the title. And they cast like it's a big letdown. She's she's this 120-pound girl, and all right, here it goes. This is from November. It's the Predator 5's prequel story is the perfect way to. Yeah, let's open this up. Yeah, this will work. Let's do that. Do you want to see this? You excited? You want to see Predator? Predator 5's prequel story is the perfect way to reboot the franchise. Really? The iconic alien warrior has reportedly failed to live up to its first outing, but the prequel story for Predator 5, aka Prey, is the best way to reboot the franchise. Although filmed under the title Skulls, the prequel's official title will be revealed as Prey and will release on Hulu. So they're going to go direct to Hulu with this? Can you imagine spending money on a Predator film and you're not going to see that in the theater? And they're saying it's going to be called Prey. I did not hear that. Look, Predator 1 is like a classic film for those that like those kind of action films. Predator 2 is fine, but they've cast how do I get this to stop? No, it won't stop. Ad. They have cast the female warrior Naru, which is Amber Midthunder from Legion, and she protects her tribe from the alien hunter. That's right. Amber Midthunder is going to protect her tribe from the alien. Set in the Comanche Nation, the story provides an opportunity to deliver the historical horror while avoiding the mistakes of previous entries, which is Predator 5's best reboot approach to other sequels repeatedly tried and failed to replicate the original. First off, stop trying to replicate the original. Just tell a good story. Like the obsession to think that you're going to cast Amber Midthunder, who's an adequate actress. It's not a dog of her. She's going to live up to Arnold Schwarzenegger's machismo, battle scenes, and all. It's just silly. That's just silly. Just make a good story. So it's set in the Comanche Nation as a prequel. So I think we're going to have primitive tools going against Predator because that makes sense. Here's a teaser photo. Here she is, and there's the Predator in the background, towering over her with his red eye on her, probably. 300 years ago gives the series greater freedom to deepen the species characterization and avoid overt comparisons to the original. Really? I don't know. This is just such trash. Oh my God. But this is exactly what we're talking about, right? Ironcast, you were saying nothing's off limit. They'll keep going. Yes, they will. They will keep going. And then they know this is trash. Like the Disney, Fox, I don't know what we're going to call it. Yeah, Disney, Fox, Disney, Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, Disney, Fox knows this is trash, and they're going to just stick it on Hulu. It's just insane. So, the tribal elements might inspire the aliens to adapt their hunting and combat styles for future battles too. Are you kidding me? This person is saying this is a good adaptation idea because the predator may take lessons from the primitive tribe, particularly their quote truly worthy opponent in Nauru. Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. That would be okay. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. This is just, oh, geez. Okay. Ironcaster's great. They're going to copy Avatar and have their predator being beaten by a bow and arrow. My gosh, you're absolutely right, man. And then the predator's going to learn a lesson. The predator is going to learn a lesson of this. Oh my gosh, that is such a terrible, terrible idea. Straight to Hulu. The Predator, the destruction of Predator. For Predators 5 prequel to successfully reboot the franchise, the Comanche Nation must play an important role and not act as a mere backdrop for mindless killing. What else will they be? They're going to hold their own against, this is Avatar. This is the new Avatar. Because I guess the Avatar 2 and 3 is technically underwater, right? So this is actually like Avatar sequel. Will be Predator 5. Prey. The fight for survival against technologically advanced invaders could provide an effective commentary on Europeans' brutal colonizing of America. Oh my gosh, what is this person's name? First off, it's garbage. It's Screen Rant. Murray Ferguson. Murray Ferguson. Sounds like an accountant. How is Murray Ferguson a nerd enough to be writing for these people? I do not see your picture or anything, Murray Ferguson. Murray Ferguson. The Screen Rant writer who thinks that Predator is not going to wipe out the Comanches. And in fact, the Comanches might learn a thing or two, and that it will be a great commentary on the Europeans. You're exactly why this garbage keeps getting made, Murray, because people like you think it's good. Oh my gosh, what trash. Okay, Daryl says Neytiri will speak harshly to the Predator, and he'll die from fear and he'll die from fear and remorse. Yeah, strong woman's going to lecture the Predator, but if she's Comanche, the thing is they never want to go all in. Like they should have her speak Indian. The Predator can't understand her, and just she's speaking a different language and he can't follow. A spacefaring warrior species will learn from a 16-year-old Indian girl, Ironcaster. That should really be the tagline. Predator 5, Prey. A spacefaring warrior species will learn from a 16-year-old Indian girl. That's exactly what this movie is. Let's do the trailer. This summer, action, adventure, the Predator returns in Prey, where Comanche Nation is under attack, but a bright young princess rises up, Nauru, to teach them about their tribal elements, inspire those aliens to adapt their hunting and combat ways, and to speak to society at broad, sweeping, important topics as Europeans' brutal colonization of America. This summer, theaters near you. Predator 5, the death of another this summer. This summer, feelings on the prairie. That's great. Natives couldn't beat the Europeans. How are they going to beat a predator? I don't even know, Ryan. I don't. The picture is insane. Look at this photo. We're supposed to take this show. Look at this. This is insane. Look at how misproportioned. That's my thumbnail. Let me save that now. I'm just saving that now. Right there. Throw it in the old drive. I gotta screenshot it or something. It's not gonna pop up that way. Okay, so there you go. Predator's dead. Predator's dead. That's all there is to it. So nothing's off limits. I only came up with a couple of examples. Like, I don't know, there's probably others. The bait and switch. I talked about Moon Knight as I was ranting and raving briefly. But yeah, it bait switch, just lack of respect for anything. They don't care, like, at all. So if they're going to go there, they better be ready to address how brutal the tribes were to one another before Europeans arrived. Oh, Ironcaster. Now, see, you're just being silly, because we all know they didn't have slaves. They had women's rights. they were very sensitive to wartime and peace treaties, and yeah, I can't even fake it. I can't even fake it, man. It's just so insane, Daryl. Thank you for the little smiley face. I guess you like my movie guy voice. We should do a Daryl commercial. Do a Daryl teaser. Tonight at 7 on VacuTube, Daryl the Derelict brings entertaining conversation and analysis. You don't want to miss it here on YouTube. My VacuTube teaser. All right. Well, I have not heard from Loki. We're going to go on without Loki because I want to run through the absurdity that is Halo, the death of Halo. I truly cannot believe how bad the show is, even as a normie, because I am a diehard normie. I don't know any of this kind of stuff. So, yeah. Let's just do that. I'm not going to EFAP because God knows I cannot EFAP for nothing. I will say this about, if you've ever watched Mahler, I know why Mahler streams for 8 hours in a row, because it takes me like 40 minutes to get through like a 2-minute trailer doing EFAP. Oh, Ryan wants to come on in. Do you want to come in for let's see. Do you want to come in for? I put the link at the top, Ryan. You can feel free to click it and come right in. See if I have your contact info. I'll send it to you. If you don't have it at the top, you can just hop right in. Ryan. Here you are, buddy. Let me send you that. Loki's getting ready to hop on in too, so I got a message from him. And then, sorry, man. I'm coming. I promise. It's multitasking for boomers. We're not really wired for this, man. You should know. Look at me. Look at all this gray hair. There's Ryan. We're not really wired for this, man. You should know.
Oh dear.
Hey, man. There's Ryan. Hey, man. I got an echo now. There we go. How you doing, buddy?
Hello.
You want to talk about this Halo nonsense or talk about something else?
Oh, yes. Halo, man. I mean, I've seen the trailer. I've seen clips of the first episode. It's awful what they're doing. It's absolutely awful.
Yeah, I want to go through a couple pieces because and I said in my little analysis of the first episode, I know a lot of people actually have not actually seen a whole lot. They have done mostly, like you said, like just seeing the trailer and whatever. Let me tell you what. I'm a total normie. Like I know more of Halo through my sons. They were really actively, Halo 1, 2, 3, the pop culture phenomenon that was Master Chief.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, as a normie, the first time I watched the episode, and everybody I saw some different videos and a couple of articles to kind of make sure I didn't make a fool of myself trying to put together a video. I didn't really get and pick up on who everybody was. Like, who's the Covenant? These are elites, the planets, motivations. The episode is so poorly written that that's not clear for a normie. So I'm not sure even what the target audience is. If we're ticking off the fans by brutally throwing this nonsense together, and then you can't speak to someone like me who's actually trying to follow along. Now, the second time I watched it, I kind of, it's almost like cheating because I can't separate what I learned from my first impression, because I now know these are called elites. So I pick up on all the little dialogue mentions that I didn't catch the first time. So we probably should wait for Loki to let it play a little bit. But so first, talk to me a little bit about your Halo. Are you a diehard Halo fan?
Well, I only know bits and pieces about Halo. I was more of a PlayStation player than an Xbox player.
Okay.
But from what I know, this current TV series is really, it just goes against it completely. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got Master Chief, who in my view is going to be a side character in his own story, like with many heroes of many franchises that have gone before. They're going to use him as basically a front man, and then they're going to fill everything in behind him that is full of their agenda. So I don't know much about Halo, but I can tell you from past experience, they're going to use yet another franchise to latch on their agenda.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were talking about whenever we were leading into this. We were kind of talking about some of the other stuff. So let me bring Stone Loki in here, my Hey, buddy. So good to have you with us.
I am so sorry, dude. I hate time zones. I absolutely freaking hate time zones. I had all of this tonight Tetrised in because Heiress of Chaos is having her birthday stream at 6. I thought your stream didn't start till 6:30, so I was like, okay, I can Tetris everything in. I've got a stream coming up with Clobby at 8:30. All of this will work out great. And your stream started 45 minutes ago. I am so sorry, man.
We're good, man. We were just shooting the S about this and that, talking about other franchises that are going to hell in a handbag, just having some fun, and it's been good. Ryan's come up in here. We're going to talk about Halo. I thought I would just I said we can't do EFAP. We'll be here for 8 hours. We can kind of hit a few of the highlights of the show. Because my first impression, and Ryan and I were talking about it briefly. So, again, I'm a total normie. Living vicariously through my children. I know more about the production history of this, Spielberg's Amblin buying the rights to it some 10 plus years ago, because I was writing for a pop culture website at the time. So I knew about the long storied history of them not making this. And I actually kind of joked in my review that I bet every script that was turned in sounded like a bad knockoff of like Starship Troopers or some actually good sci-fi and never got made. And now they just basically Paramount is basically copying, in my opinion, Paramount, like others were going to do. They're doing nothing more than following the Disney Marvel, Disney Star Wars, Disney Plus model of content. Because the rumors are this is not only picked up for season 2, but there's actually already under contract for season 3. Now, I'm not sure that's basically legit. Loki, do you know that for sure? I don't know.
That's seen the that rumor.
That is the more than one place, though. Yeah,
that is the rumor right now that it's already been. That's season 2's already greenlit, and they're already driving into doing a season 3. That is the big rumor right now. Absolutely.
So it starts out with basically sand. So right after sitting through 2 or 3 seasons of Disney Star Wars, when I first played this, and I thought, oh great. I'm getting more and more sand.
More Tatooine. Everything's set in Tatooine.
Deserts.
I know we have, and it's like, and the other thing that really bothers me is we're 500 years, and this is going to come up several times. It's 500 years in the future, and we have crappy guns, crappy TV. It's just like, has anything happened in 500 years that would remotely advance it? I feel like this is like the 1980s sci-fi. This is like really so badly done. So this is how we set everything up. It's obviously a little small little colony. Again, I have no frame of reference. We don't get a whole lot to go on before we cut to the cliche old guy in the bar who's just talking about, the elites and how tough they are. This is some sort of like anti-war peace treaty propaganda on this, again, crappy TV in the
Spartans? The Spartans. That's right. The Spartans are.
Right. So the Spartans are so tough. They're invincible. You don't know what you're talking about. They're worth 150 Marines. Now, my first question, and Loki, hopefully you'll know more, is the game this diverse? We have some 500-year future. It's in the middle of nowhere, sand planet. We have like black girl, Asian guy. And then this is basically like Quint from Jaws. Like, you don't know scars. The Indianapolis went down with the sharks. And the Spartans showed up, and it's like, what? It's just some cliched rant from the old guy. And then
they're not even supposed to really know about the Spartans.
Right.
Okay. So as far as the UNSC goes, yes, there was this revolution of sorts in the outer colonies. The outer colonies are like, well, we want to rule ourselves. We don't want to be ruled by the UNSC. We don't want to be ruled by Earth. We want to decide our own destiny. Now, in the game Reach, they're all speaking Russian. Isn't that interesting? They're all speaking Russian.
Yeah. Especially in today's age. That's not a little weird.
One of the Spartans has to translate. George has to translate what the colonists are saying on Reach because the other Spartans don't know the language.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Their leader comes in, and he is... he's Asian as well. So we've got the young guy. This is Asian daughter. She's a rebel. There's Asian general. And then his daughter sneaks off because that's what, people of leadership's children do in Hollywood is they sneak off for drugs. They're going to find these little drugs. So they do. because that's what my kids always did. They snuck off to the woods not to look at critters or try to find something to eat on this desolate planet. They were trying to look for drugs. And she stumbles across, basically, there she is. She's a star of the show, because Ryan, you're absolutely right. She's the star of the show right there. She's Baby Yoda. She's Baby Yoda. She's Baby Yoda. She's all the action figures that will be on the clearance aisle at your Ollie's, or at Ollie's really, really soon. She sees basically aliens, and you sort of like, it's the cliche, like, you know, it's not going to be what everybody thinks it is. She sends up a red flare, and then basically they get attacked.
Subverting expectations.
There was not 1 ounce of subversion. I was calling these shots every second of the way as I was watching this. Like, I knew exactly what was going to happen. But I will say this, and again, first off, before I get to the action sequence, Loki, is there any of this mythos in the Halo series? Is this just a commentary for them to have a story? I just didn't know the difference between what's in the game and that the actual story of the game and what they've basically, this is all fiction. They've all created. Okay, I'm going to call fiction, meaning they've made it up, not in general.
They've cherry picked. The producers of this show and the showrunners specifically have said before we ever saw episode 1, they said, we've taken characters, places, and content from the story and created our own story, which means this is fan fiction. This is total, complete fan fiction. They don't care what happened in the games. They've said, we don't care what happened in the games. We don't care about the story in the games. All we've done is we've taken the characters and some places and some ideas. There are books that detail how the entire war started, and they're just going to, none of that ever happened. We've got our own thing and we're going our own way.
Ryan, when you heard all of that, does that even remotely pique your interest as something that you want to watch? A fan fiction version of Halo put together for Paramount Plus?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In my view, what they're doing with Halo is exactly what Disney did with Star Wars. They took away the existing expanded universe and created their own version of the future, replacing the new Jedi Order and the Yuzong Vong with what turned out to be the sequel trilogy, which I believe is one of the greatest mistakes a company has made in modern times, certainly for entertainment. And we're seeing the same thing here. It's just clearly fan fiction. It's going to flop, just like everything these woke people do nowadays in the entertainment industry. They latch on to existing franchises, parasite off them, bleed them dry, and use it as a platform for their agendas and ideologies.
I was brought back to how I felt when I watched the new Star Trek trilogy. And I remember watching the first one, and I kept thinking, I have like an itch that won't go away because I don't like it, but I couldn't really get exactly what I didn't like, other than I knew that it just wasn't going to make any sense. Then they murdered it for me with Khan and Benedict Cumberbatch, and I'll never forgive J.J. Abrams for that, because he was basically asked point blank if Cumberbatch was Khan, and I thought to myself, in hindsight, why would you lie to us like that? Like, it didn't make sense. It would have made more sense if you just be honest. Instead, it was one lie after another, and they basically created an alternate universe that didn't make any sense whatsoever, and I hated it so much.
Would that have if they had gotten Antonio Banderas to play I Am Khan? Would that have been better? Because I thought about that when I heard that. I was like, holy shit, Antonio, I am Khan. Yeah. Look at me. I'm suave and aristocrat, and I'm powerful. He could have played it beautifully.
It would have been awesome.
They got Benedict Cumberbatch.
This is a pet peeve I have across pop culture. We could do a whole stream just on this. What is with the addiction for them wasting so much money on expensive talent that they don't even use, or they use CGI as the character, or they're behind a helmet? For instance, who cares who the lead actor is in Mandalorian because they're behind a freaking helmet? I told
he's not even in that suit a lot.
I know,
of the time.
It's a stunt person. It's like, why did you even bother? I asked a friend of mine today, huge Star Wars fan like myself. I says, okay, listen, I've met him, and I know you've met him. Could you pick David Prowse out of a lineup? And again, David Prowse, when he filmed the movie, not now when I've met him, or a few years ago when I met him, he was older. When he's young, I probably wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup. Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew, I could have picked out of a lineup because he's an odd looking individual. But could you pick out Jeremy Bulloch? He's like, he kind of hesitated. I'm like, it's Boba Fett. And he's like, absolutely not. I says, because we don't care. They become, so why do they pay expensive actors and whatever? It's just for stupid name recognition. It doesn't even make sense. It's just everything. Ryan, you hit the nail on the head because everything has been like stirred up, shaken, disoriented. There's no one cares about anything anymore, is how I feel.
Well, I personally think that all this money that is going in, say, for example, Star Trek Discovery, the amount of money that's gone into that show, I think it's a money laundering scheme. to put money into this show to hide the fact that they're spending it somewhere else. Because you've got all this money being poured into these shows, but the content that's being created is very poor. I mean, with the three of us, our budgets are minimal, I believe, and we managed to create decent content. I mostly do videos. Loki mostly does live streams, and I believe you Pops do a mixture of both, if I'm not wrong in that regard.
Yep.
Yeah, but Ryan, you're forgetting they have to feed Tilly. Sorry for anybody out there. Yeah, my bad.
You're good. All right, so let's go back to our riveting show here, because now we actually get an action sequence. So here they show up. So we might actually play just a little bit.
There's a lot of pew pew in this too. A lot of pew pew pew, and that is one thing.
I love the intensity right there. Wait, we should have our scene. This should be a meme. Why is this not a meme? I'm not good at making memes. I need one of these people that are. Bear with my service. My dad is. I stay with my dad during the week when I'm at my day job, so he's probably in there streaming some show off my Voodoo account that's in HDX or something. So it's chewed up my bandwidth. But yeah, that shot. This should just be some sort of crazy overlays with this nonsense. Anyway, so the fight breaks out. Here's our expensive CGI critters attacking, which I've learned that are called the Elite. And
those don't even look like elites. Honestly, they've got the armor.
That's what I've heard.
But they look more like the apes. They look more like the brutes. Those do not look like elites. Those look like brutes. And brutes are like these big ape-like aliens.
So if I Google Halo and brutes, I would see something that looks a lot more like that compared to these things.
Yeah, they've got the lower jaw right, but the elites are not like huge bulking figures. They are like, okay, the elites are like the Navy SEALs of the Covenant. They are the best of the best. They're invisible. They're quiet. They run up and they kill you and then laugh at you. Oh, woman, ha 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 ha! And that's it. The brutes are big, hulking, massive monsters that act like this, not elites.
Man, they don't even care about like the secondary characters and stuff like that. It's just wow. So I mentioned Mandalorian. I had a comment here about someone pointing out that John Wayne's grandson actually has a role. Okay, that's the other Mandalorian is Brendan Wayne. I did not know that. Dave, thank you so much for a little bit of trivia. That was good. I didn't know that part. So these little critters show up. They attack the humans, and I'm sitting there going, all right, well, the Spartans are going to show up at any moment and prove they're not the bad guy these things are. So that's pretty much what's going to happen. Sorry, spoiler alert, 16 times over with this ridiculousness. But some of the scenes are not terrible because there's literally like blowing limbs off and shooting people in the head that's vaporizing and all that. But as you can imagine, she's surviving. She just runs around, never getting hit. People are going to get vaporized around her. This is, again, the worst strategy ever if there's an attack is everyone hide in the closet, which is pretty much what they basically did. And then this is the special effect, which, again, some of this I didn't find was terrible. I don't know what's going on. I don't really, at this point, I didn't care that I didn't know too much about what's going on. I also just know it's just a matter of time for it to change. Here's our leader, and then he shows up. Oh, so I missed the. Oh, geez, again. I find Paramount Plus just excruciating trying to navigate. By the way, because it's only like a 10-second thing, and it's not always as easy to. let's see if we can capture the money shot, which I'm sure should have been publicized, but I missed it. He basically lands like Iron Man, Ryan. Just so you know, there's no cliches or anything. He lands exactly like Iron Man. You know, the famous Iron Man pose, which has basically been so overly done. And I really am not allowed to really throw rocks at it as much as I probably am, because I actually I wrote one novel and I made a joke, and it's actually meant to be like facetious in the character, because the character does an Iron Man thing, but it's almost like everything she does is a joke. It's not meant to be as serious. This is such a horrible fight scene. In some ways, because, and I don't know what's this one shot coming up.
Oh,
that's the
what?
Yeah, watch this shot right
terrible
there.
UI.
Okay. Now notice, terrible. And when he swings back around, you think he hits it with the gun, and he misses. Like it doesn't actually hit the creature.
Oh.
Watch the one shot when he does a second swing around. I can never get it caught. Not this one, that guy. Watch this one. He swings around right there. He misses the face. The head goes back before the gun hits him in the face. It's really terrible.
They can't even choreograph CGI.
And
no, I said it's basically like Last Jedi all over again. They can't even choreograph the scenes. They just cut through it. Watch real close though. You can see stuff's happening. The head moves before. He doesn't actually hit it in the face. It's so cheesy bad.
Can you pull the HUD back up, that picture, the picture with the HUD? Because this is what I don't understand.
What's the HUD? I'm sorry.
Oh, where it showed the HUD. Like you're seeing from his first person view. And that first person view where you see the little bar on top of his the way
you can describe it while I try to get to the right spot, because this thing is just, and it jumps.
The way they say right there. Okay, so right here, you've got his grenade count, you've got his health at the very top, you have his shield levels, you have the radar in the bottom lower hand side of the screen, you have the ammo count of the gun at the top right. Now let me ask you a question. If they didn't care about the game, which is what they said, we don't want anything from the game, we don't really give a crap about that, we just want the characters and we're going to tell our own story, why the hell do they have a HUD very much like the game HUD, where you've got the health, you've got the shield, you've got the compass, you've got the grenade, you've got all this stuff from the HUD of the actual game, but you don't want to use what's in the game for your show?
Right, and very much a first shooter point of view, right? I mean, obviously, I can see this as being very similar to what I would expect the game to be like, yet nothing else is similar.
And they're the sounds. They're actual sounds from the game. You hear the beeping of the shield generator telling you the Master Chief's shield's low. They never explain any of that. So if you haven't played the game, you don't know what all that means. Gotcha. Why put that level of service to sounds, and it's all member berries, to say, look how cool we are. We've got little things from the game in it because we care, but we don't care about the actual history that's in the games. We don't care about the story they told. We don't care about any of that, but we're going to give you some fan service and member berries. That's all it is.
It's bait and switch.
Yes.
Yeah. They got their fishing rod and they put the bait on there and they try to hook you in, as it were.
So they can say we care.
I also want to throw in just one of my pet peeves in all of science fiction and war movies in particular is this scene. So the female, she comes in, she strikes him down, and she gets this guy, and then picks the alien gun up, shoots him in the head, and then throws the gun away. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm battling anything, and the weapon is maybe more advanced or at least as efficient as the one I have, I'm not throwing it to the ground. I hate that cliche. It just irritated me to no end. So I had to stop and come back and revisit the episode after about a couple of minutes. Anyway, this nonsense goes on. And of course, let's see, every cliche you can imagine. Ryan, you can probably predict how this is going to go. She's going to survive. This is the dad. She's being attacked because it sees her. Oh, sorry. There you go. So
and then he died.
He's going to die, right? Yeah. Right in front of her. Now I don't understand. And again, I know they don't care about the game, so you kind of have to help me out a little bit, Loki. Why is it that it seems like when the Spartans are using their weapons, it's efficient, and when these humans are using this similar weapons, they're not? Nobody does anything. I don't think we ever see a human kill an elite.
Okay, the weapon he's using is like an AK-47. The big rifle, the battle rifle that the Spartan is using, those use 50 caliber rounds, kind of like the handgun. Okay. So that the handgun that they use is firing a 50 caliber round. The assault rifle they're using fires a 50 caliber round. The sniper rifle they use, I believe, has an explosive, is like an explosive tip caseless round.
None of this
so everything's around maximum damage, whereas the guns that these humans have in the colony are like old 21st century weapons, which they wouldn't even have. They'd have updated stuff. They wouldn't have crapless weapons. And there's no reason why that chain gun should have been ineffective when he had it compared to when Master Chief has it later.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
That makes absolutely no sense.
And again, for the normie in me, I've heard a lot of people talking about their, I'm going to call it battle armor, for lack of a better term. There's like a versions 2, 3, 4, 5. There's different versions, right? And they didn't even try to pick one, which would have made sense. Like they have one version now, in season 2 they get another version, in season 3 they get no. It's like an amalgam of all sorts of just stuff, just all muddled together. Correct?
Yes. Right now, the Chief is not supposed to have the Type 6 Mjolnir armor. That doesn't happen until Halo 2. In Halo 1, he's got a Type 5. He does not have a Type 6. And they specifically say that. And what they've done with the suit is they've mishmashed different armor from different eras in the games so that they can have them look just how they want to. That's not Mark 6.
It's just, it drives me completely nuts that this is just, again, Ryan, you were saying it too. They don't care. And it's just like throw stuff together, sprinkle some member berries while we just do whatever the heck we want to do.
Yep.
Not much sort of transpires. She's the only one that survives. They go to investigate the cave very carelessly. Like, obviously there's one of the elites inside. That's pretty much what happens. They get inside. And then, let me see here. The one escapes. Master Chief finds the artifact. This is the artifact. He touches it. It lights up blue and sends out all this energy. Is any of that in the game? Is this thing from the game or something they manufactured?
That is if we are correct, then that is Forerunner technology, and that is from the game. Not that specific device, but it looks to me like Forerunner technology, yes. Okay. And the Forerunners was a race of human-like beings that were basically controlled the universe thousands and hundreds of thousands of years before any of this happened.
Okay. And then what happens is basically we get the cliche. It transpires in this scene. Now that he's done all that, he basically breaks protocol. It was so cliche. You knew exactly what's going to happen. He sends 2 people to go this way. One person's going to go that way. They say, well, that's not protocol. He's like, it's okay. I got it. It's like, okay, total cliche, horrible story writing, no motivations, just because I said so. And then she lives. So he has to take care of her. And this is where we cut to the science. The woman led, basically Federation. I don't know what to call these people. What are they technically? The USMC? Is that right?
USNC. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. They're all run by women. I don't know, Ryan.
So far, she's a part of ONI. Dr. Halsey is a part of ONI, and ONI is the UNSC branch of like intelligence. Okay. So ONI is like Operations Naval Intelligence, I believe. She is in charge. She created the Spartans. If they hold true to lore, she created the Spartans. Now, this chick that they stole from Amasarala off of The Expanse, she's never been in any of this before. And in the games, Halsey is not married to Keyes. Keyes and Halsey were like comrades.
So this is almost like the senior commander of everything, because she's
No,
given
it shouldn't be.
giving the other lady so it is sort of a there's at least one line of dialogue that alludes that Keyes created the Spartans. That I picked up on. That was very clear. Who this person is or whatever the hierarchy is, she's basically like a government bureaucratic bully threatening her, like, you may not get your funding. What are you doing? There's this quick shot of a clone. That's bad. Don't do that. That's basically illegal. Here's the clone. I guess it's the clone of her, right? Is that who's supposed to be in this thing? Or we don't know.
I'm guessing
for sure.
This is some like pre-prototype to what Cortana was possibly supposed to be. They don't want her to do whatever she's doing. I think what Halsey, what they're implying here is Halsey wants to create a clone and put Cortana inside of her and then make her a Spartan. And that's not going to work. They're never going to let that happen.
Then we cut to the bad guys. That's all I know. I got this person that's basically across from if Snoke were in Dark Crystal. Ryan, what do you think? Is that about right? Looks like Snoke and Dark Crystal. They met at a bar and they made this thing. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know what its name was. On the second viewing, I pick up a little bit of that because at least with the subtitles, they give you some of the dialogue, but not in the actual express dialogue.
Well, from my limited perspective, as far as I'm aware, the Covenant is a religious order, and that this fine-looking creature right here is one of the higher-ups in that order. They despise humanity, and they want to see its end. They basically, the Covenant take over the remnants, I believe, of the Forerunners. Correct me if I'm wrong, Loki, because Halo's not my specialty.
You are correct. The prophets, and that is one of the prophets, basically rule the Covenant, and they tell you what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. They're very SJW in how they operate. If you do not conform to the way they want to do things, they will basically eradicate you. And one of the very first things they ever did was they beat the elites. Now, the elites didn't have any technology, so the elites were like samurai. And the elites went in and fought the prophets, and the prophets beat them and then said, you are so badass. We want you as not only as our personal guard, but we want you as our army. And the elites said, yes, we will do that. And then the elites helped conquer a whole bunch of other races and bring them into the Covenant. The prophets would never, ever work with a human or allow a human onto high charity. This is blasphemy to the prophets. They would never, ever, ever consort or work with a human because they're all heretics. This would prevent them from getting to heaven. That is what these showrunners do not understand. The prophets are so zealot-like that just talking to a human like this would prevent them from going to heaven.
You know, the irony is, I saw this. I thought this human, before the dialogue because the dialogue is very slow and tedious. And Ryan, I'm saving you from all of this. Just, maybe we should do this weekly so you can get the short version of all this. I actually thought she was a slave or something. She was like a translator for the alien creature to understand the humans. And then as she starts speaking, you realize that she's almost like the one in charge calling the shots. And you're like, okay, I have no idea what's happening. And then here's the best part. Here's the best part, Ryan. I'm going to spoil it for Ryan. The best part, when this scene is over, you never see these people again.
Oh, that's a relief.
We don't get another shot at the prophet and whatever did we have a name? I don't even know her name. It doesn't matter. She'll show up again because they're trying to make her relevant. We kind of have to speed along or we'll be here all day. So we got to fast forward to because we have to have, alpha male, the lead character has to start empathizing with Baby Yoda. So it starts with this bizarre sort of transmission, like we're going to communicate with Quan. Quan is the only survivor. So they send this person who's been dramatically changed from the game. Because I looked up some of the outrage of this character dramatically looks different. And this scene is
not just the looks. It's not just the looks, Pops.
It's everything.
She is not Halsey's child in the games. They have married Captain Keyes and Halsey, and this is their child.
Gotcha.
Halsey and Keyes were never married. They were buddies. He was like her chauffeur at the beginning, in the very beginning, when they collected all the kids to make them Spartans. He was her chauffeur, and she had disdain for him. And because they worked together for so long, and she began to appreciate Keyes' intelligence and his strategic mind, they became friends. They did not become lovers. They didn't have a child together. This is all horse shit from Paramount.
It is terrible.
Pardon my language.
No, you're fine. We go PG-13, but I'm good. I'm not editing anything out. It is so awkward because basically what happens is she says, we need you to make a video that says the Spartans saved the day. And the great writers over at the creators of this nonsense thought, well, you know what we'll do is we'll make Quan just threaten them. Because that's a good idea, right? She's just going to threaten them and say, no, I'm not making your stupid video. It won't work anyway. I want my planet to be free because of daddy. And then basically they basically just tell her to get some rest. That was basically how the scene ends. And then behind her back, they basically put in a kill order for her to die. They cut forward to Master Chief. This is them analyzing his body because basically he's basically being tracked and watched pretty much round the clock, and they can see him, even though he's Mr. Sad. He's Mr. Sad Soldier now because he touched the relic and he has visions, right? Uh-oh, did I lose you guys?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Hello?
Does any of this align to the game at all? Because
Nope.
It was so all over the map and so pathetic. I didn't think so.
Nope. None of this has anything to do with any of the games or any of the books.
Right. Okay.
And that whole thing with her telling Chief that what he did to her, that's all bullshit. That is all giant. That is all feel sorry for me and simp for me because Paramount wants it that way.
Yeah, this is terrible. This is the person that's now married to the other person and had the other woman's kid. It makes no sense. He just comes and goes on screen. We never care. I never cared.
This is hollow.
A little bit.
It's hollow. It's not Halo. It's hollow.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Agreed, Ryan.
Yeah. I'm just really jumping ahead because all this nonsense. So basically, this is where it gets. So all this middle is like 15 minutes of just complete nothing. This is the Mandalorian Baby Yoda bonding scene. Basically, we get her. She starts by asking if he eats and takes his helmet off, and then he basically well, she's not a horrible human. And then he gets the little alert that basically they've put a kill order in for her because, well, I don't know, she just threatened their entire power structure. So here's the Article 72 terminate. Is Article 72 a thing, and does it actually mean terminate?
Nope.
Oh, for the love of freaking Pete. Oh, my gosh.
They might as well just call this show Hollow on Paramount Plus.
I don't understand. So, again, as a writer, and I've done a fair amount of writing in my days, I thought to myself, if I were adapting a novel, the first thing I would do is ask for the transcript of the novel. Just give me the whole thing in a Word document, and then you just start eliminating things. And you keep trying to keep as much of the original as you can as possible. Halo is not only all these video games and all of that, it has this massive expanded universe. And I didn't know all of this. I've had a crash course in something. And this is why I feel so sad for this franchise and fans of it, because I'm like, they couldn't even try to come up with a terminate code or some sort of death sentence message that he would get. It makes no freaking sense. You were such lazy bastards. Golly, money. Yeah. Okay, back to the show, because obviously he doesn't kill her. They talk. They manipulate the oxygen on the ship. He passes out briefly. She's passed out. And then he just wakes himself up. And then they're going to send all the soldiers to kill everybody because, he's basically committed mutiny. This is all the Marines going to go. They're going to surround the ship when it lands on the platform because he's basically hijacked the ship. And then you get to the most important scene. I'm going to make sure I get this right. Okay, here we go. This is the most important scene. This is where all the uproar comes from. She approaches him with a gun and says, I'm going to kill you. You're gonna listen to me. You're gonna listen to me. And he just ignores her first. I have to admit, at this point, I actually thought there could be some redemption for this show. Like he's just gonna tune her out, or he's gonna zap the gun, or he's gonna do something that would be cool. No, that's not at all what happened.
Yeah, just shoot her.
Well, not killer, obviously, but like he would just zap the gun.
Just like neutralize her.
Correct. Right. He'd do something cool. No, his solution is, because he says, the gun won't even penetrate my armor. You can't kill me. So his solution is, spoiler alert, for those of you at home.
Oh no.
It's happening. It's happening right here before your eyes, folks. And here's the worst part. As a creator, the shot, okay, first off, I don't know much about Master Chief. But Loki, wouldn't he have at least been scarred up, maybe head shaved, get a good flesh wound or two in that head? Yep. I would have had some jacked up looking. Even Boba Fett's head was pretty jacked up.
And the process of turning them into Spartans, a third of the Spartans died.
Oh, jeez.
So a third of them died becoming Spartans. So they lost a third of their group when they genetically modified them and basically made them like superhuman so they could get in the armor in the first place, because you can't just be in the armor. It'll kill you.
No.
It'll kill a normal human being. It would rip you apart. So they have to go through this training, and then they have to go through genetic modification. That's what Halsey did to them. She genetically modified them and made them taller, stronger, faster, superhuman, so they could fight in the coming war.
Well, I can tell you that he'll no longer be a runway model now. He's just going to be Leaf Schreiber to me. He's Leaf Schreiber's little brother, and there he is. And he basically just shoot me in the head. And of course, she doesn't do it because she's not really strong. She's just another weak little girl that's going to lecture him. I was going to say, as a creator, if you came to me with a script, Loki, and you said, this is what we're going to do, and it's going to make people mad that we're going to take the helmet off, and I would be like, all right, listen, tell you what. He takes the helmet off. We shoot it from behind. We show his scarred head. We never show his face. She chooses not to shoot him. He puts the helmet back on. There'd still be outrage because he took the helmet off, but he didn't show the audience. And I think as bad as that would have been, it would have at least been somewhat better than this. It's just so lame that it basically becomes Boba Fett at this point. He's just going to take his helmet off and then just carry it around, I assume.
Yep.
Oh, and Ryan, spoiler alert, he never puts it back on.
No.
So, never again in the episode, right, Loki? Did he ever put it back on, does he?
I don't think he puts it back on.
Yeah, I don't think he does. And
they're all taking off the helmet. Well, taking off the helmet symbolizes them taking Halo and chucking it away.
Yes.
That's what it symbolizes.
Very good point, Ryan. Yeah, very good point.
Because they take these shows, they use them, and then they chuck them away.
And then at this point, this last 10 minutes or so is just a lesson in stupidity. Master Chief tells her, dismantle the AI, do all this stuff. She has no idea. How would she know? She lived on Tatooine, right? So how does she know how to deal with all this AI nonsense? So her solution is just to shoot it. So she uses the gun and just shoots it. Here's them surrounding the ship. They're going to target. They're going to take him out. They've got missed messages from the different female leaders. So here she is. This is how you destroy AI in the ship. It doesn't affect anything else if you just start blasting the side of the ship. Anyway, helmets off. Nonsense. Then let's see. They're surrounding the ship. So short version is he touches the relic. It basically is an EMP because we don't know why. They never explain it. I don't know. It's just,
and none of that, the EMP thing, none of that happens in the Halo video games. There is no EMP weapon device that takes down human tech or anything like that in the Forerunner arsenal. So who knows? It's crap. It's all crap. The whole first episode was crap.
Are you going to try to watch Loki any more episodes? Or is it for me? Oh, so we get to do this over again, where you just kind of like completely. Ryan, have I roped you in? You're like, I can't wait to see this. Honestly,
no.
I'm not even going to get Ryan back on the stream again. Ryan's like, I don't even want to be a part of your stream. I just want to. Can we delete my association with Halo? This Halo thing is so bad.
It's just another example of them taking something and killing it. I've seen it way too many times. I prefer to, have a positive attitude. I see where the future is. It's in content creation. It's in live streaming. It's talking with social media personalities. There's a story to be told within each and every one of us. And what they're doing to our past, there is a benefit to it. It enables us to build a better future on the past they are destroying.
Well, and to share more of the past with other people.
And onwards into the future.
It's another moment of this is ours now, not yours.
Yeah. What briefly, because I want to circle back to stuff I was rambling about earlier in the show, and I don't want to go over the time because I know there's a ton of other streams that people are starting about 7 o'clock Eastern time. So I want to stay strict to my timeline. Other franchises you see that are next. Obviously, I threw all the stuff that we know about, like Amazon with their Lord of the Rings nonsense. Obviously, there's no hope for Disney, Marvel, Disney, Star Wars anytime soon. In my opinion, I mean, there's a few things you're like, maybe it won't go as bad, but until, to me, I hold out hope only because money matters more. So this is all well and good until the finances really, everyone wants to have ESG. They all want to have their woke agenda. They want to have, but at some point you got to pay the rent. They got to keep shareholders happy. They got to make the money. So it may take years. I've said this before on the shows. I've said, listen, it could take 3 years, 5 years. I'm not going to give you some rainbows here, but what I briefly talked about the Predator nonsense. I talked about mentioning Zorro briefly, some of this other stuff. I'll start with you, Loki. Is there a franchise you're like, God, they haven't gotten to this? Please don't let them see it. Please don't let them even get near this franchise. I hope they won't even notice it.
I had a discussion a little while back with a man named Joseph Malozzi. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
He is one of the former showrunners for Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate SGU. I had a talk with him. He has a new script in his hands right now for a new Stargate show that he said will completely delight fans that have been there for years, new people that want to get into Stargate. He said this will make everyone happy. I hope that Amazon does not get a hold of this because they've got MGM now, and completely twist it into something horrible. I love Stargate. It's one of the last remaining franchises that hasn't been completely screwed up by SJW nonsense, and I do not want them to get a hold of that and destroy it.
Ryan, you got something out there? You're like, oh, please, hopefully never ever notice this franchise.
Well, there is one, but I don't know if it's already been infected already, and that is Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf has been around.
Yeah,
it's been around for many years. It used to be on the BBC from 1989 until 1999. Then it went over to a British show called Dave. Now, Dave is basically a comedy channel in the UK, and Red Dwarf has been on that channel from about 2009 to about 2020, on and off. But I think that could be something that they latch on to once all the other more major franchises are destroyed and gutted, as it were. Because I quite like that show.
Yeah, that's a good one. That one, I'm shocked is not already on somebody's radar screen, and maybe I'm overlooking it, but I haven't seen anything about that yet either. The one that I know has already been talked about a few times as far as being remade, and that's Logan's Run. It seems like the perfect thing for them to get their hooks into, but they haven't yet. There's been a lot of stuff, but that was pre Last Jedi, which I think is definitely the delineating sign. It definitely could be, floating around with all these mergers and stuff. You just never know where the stuff's landing on what desk. But as I say, there's hope in the fact that finances matter. Listen, Loki, you have a massive list of shows that you do, that kind of thing. I know you have kind of a regular schedule of different shows. I can plug everything real quick. I have all stuff in the down below. I don't have stuff from Ryan. Ryan, you have to somehow message me so I can get all of your socials and stuff too in there. I'll do the best I can with what I can track down, but that way I get people to link to all your stuff. So, Loki, talk about your different shows and what's going on.
We do a morning show, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. I hate time zones. Remember that? That's why. But we do a morning show every morning. Depends on what it is, what day it is. We've got our Monday show. We've got Taco Tuesday. We have a YouTube talk Wednesdays that Ryan is going to be a part of tomorrow morning.
Awesome.
We have Thirsty Thursdays, where the topic can be anything of the day, and the Weekend Review on Friday, where we usually talk about the craziness that's happened over the course of the week with the Rooster Day Bob. That is the main lineup for what we do each and every week, and we've never missed a weekday ever.
Congratulations, that's awesome, man. That's a great resume to build upon. Ryan, how are you doing? What's top of your line for your content?
Well, I make videos on YouTube, Ryan Roger Athay. I talk about topics and people that I'm interested in. Most of my videos are either my thoughts, suggestion videos, and rising star videos, of which Stone Loki is one, and you, Pops, will be most likely one in the future. I see you going far as a content creator onwards into the future. But I release videos daily. I try to release videos daily. You can find me on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Roger Athay.
Oh man, that's awesome. So, Loki, you had sent me a link to this thing a while ago in the private chat. I'm still not used to bouncing around. It's again, we're back to my boomer nature there. Well, listen, guys, it's been so awesome. It's been great to sort of break down the Halo nonsense a little bit more for some folks. Save Ryan from having to even track it down on his own. He can get a little crash course, the cliff notes, if you will, of some of this nonsense, and then we can tack on a few other things and chat it up. So, gentlemen, I appreciate everything. I'll make sure I have everything in the descriptions. Usually, what I do is, and folks, if you want a little synopsis, if you're new to Pops, I usually try to do a stream or a long form video. Some folks don't like the live because they're not necessarily professional, semi-professional, but we'll record and do that. Then I make clips. And again, I go back to my radio days and a little bit of clickbaitiness and thumbnails and stuff because it's fun for me. I got to be honest. I do it for what I think is entertaining and fun. Sometimes the clips will be 4, 5, 6 minutes long. Sometimes they're 20 minutes long. This Halo one's going to be this massive long video. And of course, when Loki said it, this is nothing but fan fiction. There's your thumbnail just writing itself because it is absolutely 100% true. And that could be applied to everything. It's like we have this. We could have just had this. I basically called it Mandalorian because you had just this blank script and then just didn't know what it was. Oh, we could just put Halo on that, and we just changed a couple things and whatever. And I feel that's what happened. I feel like it just went to some high school 10th grader who turned it into his Halo script, and that's pretty much what we got. It's just that generic. It could be substituted for anything else. And I got to be honest. I could probably adapt that in a couple days for Stargate and Red Dwarf. It wouldn't take me that long to probably come up with some sort of script modification, and I could rewrite it. They're just that generic and vanilla. There's nothing interesting happening. And is it Schadenfreude? Is that how you say it? The German term for almost like hate watching. That's kind of how it's going to be for me. It's just like I'm watching it just because. It's like I can't look away at the car accident. I'm guilty as charged. I can't help it. And Loki made it worse. Thanks for that.
Hashtag blame Loki.
Hashtag blame Loki. So, gentlemen, I thank you so much for your time. We'll sign off there.